Welcome back, everyone, to episode 28 of the Tricks and Traps Speedrun. I am finally back after a couple of weeks of travel. I was in Brazil with a pretty busy schedule, but it's good to be back doing some speedrun content. And I'm coming into today rated 1631, and hopefully we'll have a fun, instructive, but also tricky and trappy day of chess. Let's hop into the first game. Okay, first opponent playing Sam. And we have a French. What do I want to play against a French? Play c4. And I was ready to play an Orthoschnap, but c6. So kind of a hybrid of a French and a Caro-Kann. And now, I don't know what we call this. Chess.com calls this a French defense Steiner variation. I don't want to overthink this. I'm just going to take the center. No reason to spend too much time when the opponent is playing such moves. And I'm basically playing a 4 pawns attack, which sometimes you see against a King's Indian or a Pierce. In this case, my opponent continues to push the pawns on at least one square to the 6th rank. Finally develops a minor piece. Let's develop myself, bishop d3. And I just want a castle and then probably open the center with a pawn break. Very likely f5. There's also queen a4 ideas to attack the bishop and the pawn. That would probably provoke bishop b7. But now with knight f6, e5 looks very attractive. Just expanding, attacking the knight. And the knight can't easily retreat and stay in the center. So knight g8 might be coming. If knight g4, I can trap the knight. All right, I'm going to centralize my knight. If we see knight e7, that will allow me to end the game with smothered mate. So this knight can't develop, or can't redevelop. Pawn c5. All right, let's push forward. If takes, then we might trade bishops. But I have a pretty nice center here. 2 center pawns on the 5th rank. Life is very good. Usually when you have the space advantage, you don't want to trade minor pieces. In this case, I'm okay trading the bishops. But black avoids the trade, attacking d5. Now what to do? Bishop b5 comes to mind. Defend and pin. Might walk into a6. Also wondering if I can set up this move, knight d6. Like if I start with rook e1. Going to take a moment here. And there's also pawn e6, which looks attractive too. Choices. Yeah, I think I'm going to reject bishop b5 because a6, and then I don't really want to trade. Another move that comes to mind is bishop c4, which actually looks like the most solid but also aggressive. Defend the pawn and align with f7. There's some nice x-ray vision here with the rook and bishop targeting the f7 pawn. Black is going for b5. Calculating e6, takes, knight f6. How to do this? Okay, let's just stop black from what they want to do. Pawn a4. Sometimes when you have such a space advantage, you just want to clamp down and prevent the opponent from having any activity. It's not easy for black to find a productive move here that doesn't hurt the position in some way. Like knight e7 still gets smother mated. b5 doesn't work, I can take and then take. Okay, let's develop my final minor piece. Maybe black will queenside castle. I would like to set up e6 with the discovery, but my bishop's not defended. Okay, so black does castle. Yeah, it feels very close to like having some tactic. Like d6, queen c6. Also calculating e6 and then take and then take. But let's just keep improving. I'll play queen b3. This connects the rooks, prepares rook d1. I'm actually envisioning rook d1 and then d6, queen c6, bishop d5 to trap the queen. Okay, knight b8. Yeah, put the rook on d1. Trying to make every piece useful in the position. f5. So allowing en passant, but then I would lose a bishop. Can I go with my original intention? Pawn d6. Looks really good. Black has no time to take the knight. Needs to save the queen. If queen d7, I pin and win. And if queen c6, I still have this move bishop d5. Not quite trapping the queen, but definitely making progress. I'm dreaming of pawn e6 and then pawn d7. Could be pretty brutal. I mean, these are two connected passed pawns, not too far away from queening. I'm also realizing, like, if queen c6, bishop d5, queen e8, I can take, and after king takes, I take on c5 with the pin. And then black's whole position probably crumbles soon after. Okay, this is maybe a decent try to give the queen. The problem for black, though, is yeah, my attack is still coming. No need to save my knight. I'm threatening mate in 1 here. And that's game over. Okay, nice quick game, 23 moves. And hopefully goes to show how to punish such an opening. Like sometimes you just want to focus on the opening principles, develop your pieces, gain space, and yeah, just keep gaining space when you're able to. Didn't really do anything too crazy this game. Just took the material when it was given and then went in for the kill. So, nice start. That brings me to 1639. Let's keep it going. Next opponent, playing Lord Fisher, 2025. Have a king's pawn, maybe a Stafford gambit. Okay, here we have a 4 knights. And we have the center fork trick. Still a very common opening line that players walk into at this rating level. The point is, if knight takes knight, I have pawn d5. And this does look scary at first for black, because I've lost casting rights. But in general, this is very good for black, because I take over the center. And here I can just keep expanding, pawn e4. And similar to last game, I'm gaining space, seizing the center. This knight is going to have to undevelop. Now, I have studied this position before. I'm pretty sure the best move is h5 to actually sack a pawn and open the h-file. So let's go for it. And if white doesn't take the pawn, then my idea is to play h4 and kick this other knight, which I can do. Now white has to retreat either to f1 or e2. Now there's a central pawn tension, which I do have to deal with. I don't really want to allow takes and then the queen trade happens. So, I mean, queen f6 comes to mind. getting the queen off the d-file. And then if takes and takes, I guess there's queen d5. Slightly annoying. I was also thinking like queen f6 takes and bishop c5, but then there's still queen d5. So my king is somewhat of a target in some lines. Yeah, trying to figure out how to avoid the queen trade, not give anything to white. Queen f6, takes, queen d5, bishop e6. Can I get away with sacking the pawn? And then get the rook in? It's interesting. Maybe it's best to allow the queen trade and just focus on developing. I'm a bit torn here. Any other candidate moves, like h3 is interesting. Takes. Queen h4. The bishop's ready to develop. Okay, I'm gonna play based on some intuition. I spent some time there, so this is part intuition, part calculation. I am allowing white to take, and then win the pawn. But the point is, I'll develop very rapidly, and white's queen would likely be a target in the center if white spends some time to bring the queen to e4. Okay, so white doesn't go for that. Redevelops a knight. This does allow me to take, which actually looks really nice. Because now this square is quite weak. My knight has a pretty clear path to it. But it's still tricky. Knight check, king f1. That feels very, very close. Knight check, king f1. Maybe rook to e8 there. Maybe I can start with rook to e8. Just no rush. Aligning with the queen. So white does win a pawn. Now I'm keeping this move in reserve. I like bishop c5 to start. Just targeting f2. And now, okay, now it looks like there's some forcing sequences. Like take and then check. And the king will move and I'll have some discovery. But is it winning? Feels so, so close. To be honest, I'm not seeing it. Take, check. Maybe knight d2 and then rook takes d5. Okay, let's go for it. Check. Yeah, I'm going to play knight d2. This obstructs the queen from defending d5. Also, of course, unleashes my queen to check the white king. And now I can take with the rook. Not only defending the knight, but preparing the rook lift. And it's actually really nice having the pawn on h4, preventing knight g3. But white is managing to stay alive. Knight f4. Yeah, I still have to work for it. Okay, rook, check, king f2. Check. I actually like this first. I think this is a bit trickier too. And then if white takes a rook, I take back, and rook g5 is unstoppable. Like, white's going to have to lose a queen to not get mated. Like, there's no untangling with the king and rook. Check. Is it force mate? I think it is, actually. There's a nice move here, queen f3. The queen is pinned, so this is not legal. The king has to move back. I can take, and then h3. And it's very important my knight controls f1. So if rook f1, I just take it with mate. Okay, fun game. I am curious if maybe I missed anything stronger, or some critical moments in this middle game. Just to show the valuation, though, of this line, I've encountered this a good handful of times, especially in the previous speedrun that I did, the beginner to master speedrun. And this is considered to be a sizable advantage for black, especially after what happened. h5 is the top move. So queen f6 is the best move here, and if white takes and queen d5, this I have not studied before, but according to the engine, black is nearly -3 in black's favor, so the best move here is either knight b4 or bishop f5. Knight b4 is nice to set up bishop f5 and then target c2. And white's king and queen are basically sitting ducks. The pieces are just severely underdeveloped. So, yeah, after what happened in the game, it's also very pleasant. Looks like I was always in control. Okay, fun game. That brings me to 1647. Let's keep it going. Black again. This time we have a queen's pawn. d5, okay, kind of a weird move. This does grab space, but it's a little bit overextending. I think the principled approach here is just to poke at this pawn, and white's gonna probably have to trade it off. White tries to reinforce it. So let's take. And now probably just e6. Poking again. If e4, I just take. If takes, I can take back with the f-pawn. Now I have two center pawns, but also the half-open f-file, which maybe can be used very soon. I was about to just instantly play bishop c5, but I should consider queen a5 check to attack the bishop and the king. There's queen d2. Yeah, I like bishop c5 better. Setting up some tactics, which looks like white allows. Bishop takes f2. Very classic tactical pattern. King takes f2, I'll have the fork. Yeah, no mercy here. So king e2. That's interesting. My knight is pinned, so I can't take on e4. Maybe queen b6 is a way to go. To unpin the knight, support the bishop, attack b2. If bishop takes f6, it defends b2, but allows mate in 1 with queen e3. I'm also threatening to take on e4, given the knight's unpinned. I'm also threatening to take the knight, because the bishop and queen form a battery. So it's not easy to defend everything as white in this position. Okay, e5 is some counterattack. There's options here, like taking the knight, taking the pawn. Taking the pawn actually looks like the simplest. Attacking the king, attacking the pawn, attacking the rook. Yeah, I'll just take the pawn. Oh, is it mating? Oh, it's really close to mating. Wait a minute. Check. Oh, I don't have knight g4 though. Okay, I'll take the pawn and then I'll win the bishop. And I'll still have some attack with knight g4 as a threat. Knight g4, king e1. Still have to work a little bit. Let's go for knight e4. More centralized. If king e1, then queen e3. And now if white blocks with a minor piece, that is checkmate. Okay. I was going to say if white blocks with the queen, then there's queen c3. And then the rook will hang with check. So pretty one-sided game. My opponent just went wrong in the opening. d5 is probably a positional mistake, just given that white's not developed, and I'm able to pressure the center and develop more quickly. And as we see, this is kind of a common mistake at this rating level, is sometimes players don't develop quickly enough. In this case, my opponent, once they did develop the bishop, it became a target and allowed me some very nice tactics. So that game brings me to 1654. Let's keep it going. Okay, this time I'm white. I'll play pawn e4. e6 is pre-moved. I'll play the opening I wanted to play the first game, but again, we don't have d5. We have pawn to b6. Let's play d4. Just control the center. I do allow bishop to b4. Generally, with the bishop being cattleed on b7, it's nice to have this this pawn chain to undermine the bishop. And black is playing decently solidly. Let's develop my bishop. And the knight. And because I have the nice center, a bit more space, this will very likely lead into an attack in the middle game. But first things first, just developing, castle. I'll bring the knight to g3. Some juicy square on f5 for the knight. So g6 makes a lot of sense, preventing knight f5. At the same time, this does weaken the dark squares. And black does not have a dark square bishop, and I do, so long term, this could be a big factor. I'm thinking just bishop e3 here. Just prepare queen d2 and then maybe later infiltrate. h5, okay, so black is maybe having some ideas of attacking on the king side. But that move doesn't really scare me. I mean, h4, I move back, and there's only so much damage the pawn can do. And one plan might be to play f4, although now with the king committing to the queen side, I think the queen side pawn breaks are more attractive. Yeah, let's just play a4. Want to open some files, ideally both the A and the B file. Black is trying to keep the position closed. I would like to play c5. Not sure if it leads to so much right away. So I'm going to start with rook b1. The idea might be to prepare the break with queen b2 and then eventually c5 once this pawn is pinned to the bishop. I'm also getting my queen off the alignment of the black rook, which could have been relevant. Like if I played c5 and then takes, there's more pressure against the queen. So now is a time. Pawn c5. Take. Yeah, the problem is the position is still somewhat solid for black. Like if I play c5, I need a good follow-up. And after d takes, I'm not quite seeing it. Now, the other thing to ask, does black have any like scary ideas? Like g4 I just take. h3 actually closes the position down. So that actually indicates I have time to maybe think a few moves ahead, maybe slow play a little bit. And the plan that I'm looking at is to improve the knight, actually bring the knight to b3, not only to support c5, but maybe to sack on a5. Let's go for it. At first it looks like a slow move, but yeah, if the knight can get here, even now c5, because the bishop's defended. c5, we trade bishops. The knight would then support c5. Let's do it. Okay, black blunders the bishop. Maybe played a little bit too quickly there. And now this is going to be a pretty devastating attack. Threatening mate in 2. Also threatening to take on a5. Okay, that does prevent queen c6. If I play d5, there's queen d6. So I want to finish this off efficiently. I think just taking is probably the best approach. And now there's the pawn bishop battery and the queen rook battery aimed at the b6 pawn. I'm considering sacking the queen, but I don't think it quite works there. Almost works, actually. Let's get the knight into play. There are probably a lot of options there. Like I could have taken. Okay, we have rook b8. How to do this? Take. Oh yeah, maybe I just take. And then a5 will be hanging because there will be a pin on the diagonal. Yeah, I probably could have done this without the inclusion of knight d3. And now I'm threatening bishop c8 checkmate. Not easy for black to stop. I mean, if knight c5, then bishop c8 would lose the queen. So, okay, maybe black should have tried one more move. But, yeah, resigns instead. Completely winning position for white. If knight c5, I would probably just take it with the bishop, and then, yeah, black's whole position is crumbling. So another quick game. This one, my opponent gave me space, and rather than doing any like crazy gambit, I just developed my pieces, and then the tricks and traps came later in the middle game. Yeah, mainly after this move c5, then black was under major pressure. Of course, they shouldn't blunder the bishop, but even if they trade, this is very, very nice for white. And yeah, we see by the eval bar, this is pretty much completely winning for white. So I think I'll end it there. Rated 1662. Hope you guys enjoyed the chess today. Do stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you like the content, and I'll see you guys soon.